takes very special people to race offshore. When you go ocean racing, we race 24/7.
The most important thing to understand about ocean racing is it is as far removed from what most of us experience as it's possible to get.
We're sailing in an environment which is not human friendly. So when we go there, we have to be very, very humble.
Sailing a boat, in the dark at high speed. All you look at is numbers on the computer, the angle of the wind, the speed of the boat. You know what sails you have up, and you're always trying to think of the plan B.
But when we want to push to win, that's where, and you're pushing the limit. That's where your body and your brain is getting tired.
It is taking a team of people into the most uncomfortable, the most frightening, and the most relentless experience. But the race against what Mother Nature can throw at you is always running.
The Ocean Race today announced the 13th edition of the race will start next October in Alicante, Spain. Held once every 4 years since 1973, the event is the pinnacle of professional sailing and the sport's most sought-after trophy. It is regarded as the longest and toughest sporting event there is. The world's best sailors, competing on state-of-the-art racing yachts, will race for 9 months on a 35,000-mile racecourse around the planet. Speaking at the announcement of the next race...
My name is Bruno Dubois. I was team manager for Mirpuri Foundation racing team. I spent my whole life in sailing. It's a way of life. I got a phone call one day, somebody wanted to do the ocean race. And here I am, I'm in Paulo Mirpuri's office. Paulo is an entrepreneur, he's a pilot, he's a doctor, he's always perfectly dressed. He likes what is perfect. And I don't think his objective in life is to finish second. Paulo said, look, can you set up a team for me? He had this line, look, racing for the planet.
Please give a warm welcome on stage to the president of the Mirpuri Foundation and the Mirpuri Foundation racing team owner, Paulo Mirpuri.
Global warming will reach and potentially exceed 3 degrees Celsius before the turn of this century.
So Paulo Mirpuri and his family, they really want to promote a new vision on the way the world should be in the future. And they want to do their own part. They're putting a lot of money into sustainability, and I think, and better we do, more we talk about, the Mirpuri Foundation and racing for the planet and all the Mirpuri family wants to do.
As a team, this is a race we want to win. But as a foundation, with the goal of passing a better world onto our children, this is a race we simply cannot afford to lose. Thank you.
Paulo asked us, look, can you make a proposal of the way you want to work?
Yeah, I'm a professional sailor. I thrive for big offshore intense racing and big campaigns that have been, a challenge to set up. Paulo was asking Bruno to help him out to set up this team. He asked me if I was interested in being the skipper of an ocean race crew.
And what did you think?
I thought that would never happen. Coming from a French background, having the chance of being the skipper of an international ocean race team is a once in a generation. And yeah, the performance side was a clear message from Paulo.
What's it like meeting a new owner of a team and stuff, and they say to you, you need to win?
Why the hell would I, be scared of being asked to win a race? Otherwise I shouldn't do this sport, If we're not there to win, what the hell are we doing on the water?
It didn't make a lot of sense to me that Yoann Richomme would be named as skipper because I just hadn't heard his name buzzed about before. You know, it would be easy to think that the guy has only done single-handed sailing. That's certainly what he was renowned for. You know, you could have had everybody. What on earth is with this guy?
I think we wanted to have somebody who had good experience offshore, because that's what Yoann has, even if he didn't sail around the world. He won, so the Figaro, he won the Route du Rhum on the Class 40, so that was the rising star in single-handed sailing in France, and is a top sailor that a lot of people are looking at.
He's made his name sailing single-handed, and he's been impressing all the right people. So he brought with him a very strong reputation.
It's an exciting day today. We're starting the selection process here in Lorient, in my hometown. I know it's going to be a long process and a long year, and you know, getting the crew together and getting it to work together. So I know it's only the first step. It's only the first day of the first step. So we're bringing in about 10, 12 sailors over 2 weeks, and trying to get a better idea of their level and of who they are. When we're sailing on the 65, we're sailing with 10 people on board. So it's really hard to get an idea of who's doing what and how is everybody performing. And usually as well, they only do one task or, you know, or one area of the boat.
Well, the VO65 is 65 foot long, and its job is to take 8, 9, 10 sailors around the world in comparative safety. That means you've got to deal with big waves, you've got to deal with big wind, but also it needs to have a performance edge. So it can plane, it can build up these big speeds. All the boats are identical. And the key thing is, it allows the best sailors just to find that little bit of performance edge.
Stepping on the Volvo 65 for the first time for me was very impressive, because they're very different boats to what I'm used to. And I was kind of looking at it like, how the hell do you manage all this, you know? So many people, so many winches, so many grinders and stuff, and you have to synchronize all those people, whereas usually I synchronize myself.
4, 3, 2, 1, start.
Putting these people, used to the cruise sailing, onto a small offshore single-handed boat was where I was going to be able to see the qualities they had on something that I could understand and manage.
It's very fast for me to learn about the sailor's level that way, being in Lorient, sailing on the Figaro on a small boat, because I can see them directly doing all the jobs that we do on the 10-man crew.
We could do some improvements on it, and then we'll talk again.
But it's good because I can put them in a situation where they don't know the subject by heart. They don't know these boats. That's what I want. That's what I want to find out.
Some more time.
Now when we're ready, let's go check
We had done 2 weeks of sea trials here in Lorient, and we were going to go down to Cascais about a month later to start training out there. I was supposed to move the family down there for, you know, a year and a half, 2 years, you know, as long as the campaign took.
The coronavirus pandemic started in China, spread to Europe.
The big pause button was pressed on the ocean race, but also sport worldwide.
Everything stopped, and Paulo, is in the airline business. Everything stopped.
The round the world ocean race was supposed to start in the end of 2021, and it was now postponed to a later date, and we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how long it was going to last, and we didn't know if we still had a project.
There was some question mark as to when the next edition was going to be. how long was it going to take to put everything back together again in terms of laying out the new race course, getting the teams and everything. But the fans wanted something right now. So the Ocean Race Europe was being talked about as a potential filler in the summer. A chance for the teams to stretch their legs, learn some important things, a chance for people to get back involved in the racing. Everybody wins. But it turned into something a little bit bigger. Whatever it was meant to be, I think the significance of it with COVID and the delays, it became a lot more than that.
As things started to settle down, we heard about this race around Europe. Have been waiting for a race like this for many, many years. We knew it was going to be a light organization because of COVID, but it was going to be good because we were going to race. And we thought it was a great challenge for us, and we could be the first ones to win it.
Recording here. About a year ago, we ran some training in Lorient to try and select some crew members for the ocean race. Of course, things have changed, but all that selection has been worth it. And we've come up with a really great team, which we, and a great group of people which we have been able to select from to build a team. We're going to have even more motivation when it's time to go back out sailing.
Sailing is very simple. You need money and time.
By the end of the summer, we knew we were going to race around Europe, so we were starting to build the campaign. We were going from lockdown to lockdown. If it wasn't one country, it was the other. So it was really tough getting everybody in the same place at the same time.
For me, as a team manager, the more important part is before the race, not during the race. And the preparation is the most important part.
With Bruno in the game, we knew we were going to start building a really serious campaign. So we started bringing in mental preparation, physical preparation, nutrition. I felt getting closer to the start, we had done a lot. You never feel like you've done everything, but we had definitely done enough, and we had been very serious at what we had been doing.
One, spike!
We had put in the hours and never wasted any time, and we had done the data analysis very seriously, and yeah, I felt I had in my hands all the elements needed to do some proper racing.
Yesterday. Just the final preparations. It's always I think the hardest part to pack everything and make sure that we don't forget the essential things that we need for the trip to go as light as possible, but also what we will really need. So, yeah, it's a little bit stressful in the morning. I think we have all sorted out.
The Ocean Race Europe was going to look like a proper race. We were going to get 7 Volvo 65 and 5 IMOCAs. Considering there is only 8 Volvo 65 in the world, getting 7 on the start line in a COVID period in Europe was quite a nice challenge, and it was nice to see. A lot of big names were coming. Baubeck and Chris Nicholson, Simon Tienpon. They've all skippered boats in the ocean race before. I mean, I know for me, this whole race is going to be the challenge of knowing if I can be, good enough to be a skipper against these guys. So the first leg is from Lorient to Cascais, and we've got it marked around way out into the Atlantic, and so it's going to be quite a big ocean leg compared to the other two, which are going to be in the Med, a lot closer to the coast. We have to take into account in those campaigns is that we are financed by some very successful people, so they don't like losing. The sponsors, they always say, you got to win, this one's for you. We knew what the objective was, and there was no need to repeat it, you know, that morning when we left the dock.
The expectations are high, but we are excited to see how the team performs on this first leg, and I will be waiting for them in Cascais in a couple of days.
With the team, it's been more than a year that we're training all together by a block of, you know, session of training. Because of the COVID situation, it was a bit complicated, but I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's a nice team, and you know, I don't think I would have done differently if I have to start again, so quite happy.
A minute to the start, we should start putting the bow down if we have the gap, and slowly go, 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 winding up, okay?
The only thing it's difficult to do in the light is bird lane. Yes. 5 and 10? Yeah. We're ready.
Welcome to the inaugural Ocean Race Europe, bringing together two high-performance offshore classes onto one course, one start line.
Burn time coming up a little.
As we're looking at the moment, the fleet are going to be starting on a reaching start. We are inside of 5 seconds to go.
Getting away a bit, Yoann. 3 more, 3 more. Go, guys.
Only the first day, it's only the first leg, and it's only the first challenge, and we're surely seeing more speed and more racing to come.
Well, could not be better. We are leading for the moment, so let's hope we keep this way all the way to Cascais.
We are still digging, but just 1 hour of racing, so we have to lead for 3 days and not just 1 hour.
Nice sunset.
Yeah, so we've got all the other boats on a AIS, so tracking system. We're logging all the numbers of all the other boats, so we're constantly monitoring their performance and trying to get the best out of our boat. Right now we have Childhood 0.6 miles away, so it's very tight between us, and we are to keep an eye on them and try to stay in between them where we are heading, which is Cap Finisterre right now.
Nice night, like small, I think all the nights small gains, we were just making small things here and there. And yeah, this morning we put in some good mileage in the last sort of 6 hours on the fleet, so it's been pretty good.
We had 2 days of foot to the floor racing out in the Atlantic, reaching out to this mark and reaching back, and it was going really well for us with some really good speed. The team was, you know, tired, but you know, pulling together, and we were in the lead.
First is looking pretty much sewn up, and there aren't that many tactical decisions. There's one way to get to that mark, and so everyone's pretty much following the leader, and that's perfect when you are in first, because nobody else can find a good way around you. And somebody started looking at the weather forecast and seeing a really interesting phenomenon.
But that front is still going to be only moving at 12 knots. So we're going to...
So even if you've gone south, when you drive back west, you'll still catch it immediately?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very tricky right now because we're coming up to this area of light winds. So basically this is a front, strong winds behind, light winds in front, and it's moving like this. And basically we're moving with it, almost, we're faster than it is, but we cannot get ahead of it. So we kind of have to wait and go along with it. So everyone is going to be catching up, and we're all going to be in line, moving with it all the way to Qashqai almost.
More and more of the forecast models just showed that no matter what way you were going to try and get to this, there was going to be an enormous park up. You could have been 4 days behind, but you were going to ride in with this breeze. And the lead, the miles that you've accumulated, were going to come crashing down.
Still very light.
Even though we were at the front of the fleet with a big lead, we knew the others were going to catch up. So we knew it wasn't finished until the end.
Everything has been going to plan. And I'm sure that for Yoann and all the sailors, you're thinking, well, I've just justified my paycheck. Because here I am, it's going to be a parade of success as we come in. Just one last decision to make. We've got this TSS in front of us. We could go to the north, we could go to the south, and what felt like the last 10 miles of just easy sailing suddenly become the hardest tactical decision you're ever going to make.
There's a TSS off Qashqai, a shipping zone which is restricted and we're not allowed to go inside it, so we've been getting lifted, and it made sense for us to carry on straight and go around the north. The other boats have chosen the other option. We don't have that much company. Sailed very well for 3 days, and it could come down to the a bit of fortune at the end. So
they're not taking the same route to go to Qashqai as us, and basically we end up in two separate areas, and we believe in our option, but we're the only ones there. So it's a situation we usually don't like, and we usually don't want to be in. It's probably a once-in-a-lifetime situation.
What it must be like to watch all of your competitors gamble on the south route, when once you've gone, you've gone. You cannot come back. That is it. You are now baked into that decision, and you've only got to wait and see how it unfolds.
everyone smile, look happy.
It's obvious it was an all or nothing at that time. We were either going to win it or to end it last. And that is the gamble I usually don't like to take.
Basically the entire fleet's south of an exclusion zone, and the whole fleet's to the south of it and we're to the north of it. And they're quite slow, and we're going quite a lot faster, but we have a bit more distance probably, so I think it's going to really come down to the last few hundred meters, I think. It's a bit stressful.
There's a lot of pressure for sure, because we know it's the home of the team. It's where the Mercury Foundation is, and you know, we're expected to win.
Even from a distance, you can tell they're looking more and more desperate. Let's send somebody up the rig.
Shadow, and it looks really like it's close to land.
Can we see any breeze anywhere? Is it better just to sail 5 degrees lower, 5 degrees higher? What else can we do? What else can we do? But they knew. We knew.
I don't know, man. Doesn't look very promising on our side, but we need to hope that the breeze comes close to the shore, and that's our chance basically. The fleet is down below. It's down to the gods now.
He said the pressure's catching us all the time.
We have to be ready to jibe.
But there's no doubt the outcome was as worse as it could be. Every single 65 slips past them.
Bad decision on my part.
We didn't pick make the right option. It was a risky one. I regret it, but it was my call, and it's going to make the rest of the race hard, but it doesn't mean it's over. We're going to have a hard look at all this and come back out stronger.
In my head, I'm already, going through what I'm going to say to the team to get them back into a good groove, a good mood, and motivated for the rest of the trip, because it's still 2 more legs to go, plus some coastal racing, so many points to be scored. But yeah, we're in Cascais and we're standing last.
You could finish 2nd, 3rd, 4th, it was fine, but last. That's exactly the leg that you were not supposed to lose.
So here you have, comparatively a young French sailor, Yoann Richomme, wanting to come on and wanting to prove himself, and then everything going for him. Clearly the boat's fast, clearly the crew is quick, and then they don't win the first leg. And there would have been no doubt, absolutely, you are starting to think, is this going to hurt my reputation far more than I can recover it?
The mistake I did, I think, because Yoann told me that at one stage Yoann wanted to jibe, to cross behind everybody, because we knew that we were almost like that, so if you jibe, you go 20 miles behind everybody. And then you told me that we will be able to catch it.
It was a hard call for me to say, no, I'm not listening to you, we're doing this. So the one call I should make is the risk reward towards the fleet stuff. That's my call, and yeah.
So after leg 1, everybody's coming in, gets a little chance to kind of recoup, but then of course there's not that much race because we're going to go back out in the water for the Mid-Peru Foundation Trophy. And at one level, this is not that difficult, right? You've just done 4 days of sailing, you've done all these miles. This is just a short coastal race around this port. But for Mid-Peru, it means an awful lot. Obviously, well, the race is carrying your name as well. It's in your hometown. But in terms of an overall scoreboard, this is crucial. You've got to perform. So everybody's got to be in that right headspace. And I think that for Mid-Peru, the 3 points available for first place, that would have been the nail in the coffin. Without that, then the opportunity to win the Ocean Race Europe overall was really looking out of reach.
Yeah, it showed everyone we can do this. We have the level to do it. It wasn't an easy race. We made some mistakes. We weren't in the lead the whole time, but we fought hard to get back into the lead.
Talking about. Nice.
Let's go to the hospital. We go to the hospital to do. We are gonna speak what we are gonna do.
During that race, I got injured. I ripped a good part of my calf in one of the maneuvers. Going to the hospital, there was a chance that was the end of the campaign for me. And when the results came, that was, ripped over, 8 centimeters. The team was worried I wasn't going to make it, back onto the boat. I was more worried of letting the team down and, not being part of it. My role is more mental than physical. And as long as my head was in the game, I could do it with one leg.
The leg 2, Cascais to Alicante in Spain. And while the start's fairly kind of conventional, the finish is going to be relatively processional.
I think the model of the team is now back up.
and I'm sure they will do whatever they can to get the best possible result in this race.
So for us, it's like yesterday, safe to weather, start, we might suffer for a touch, try to go through the transition with a better angle, accelerate, we're able to put the bow down and we go, okay? Yeah. No majors, no issues, and then the race starts in this market.
Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, they may have dominated the Merpuri Sailing Trophy in the VO65s, but they let leg one slip through their fingers in the final stages.
Almost racing here, okay?
As the gun fires, all of the pumps working to get these sails out. The boat that's struggling at the moment is Merpuri Foundation Racing Team. They are at the back of the fleet at the moment. As I say that, look at that. Axinabel Ocean Racing, is their turn to suffer.
On the east side of that TSS. So we should be driving down there. But as we're leading, we got to decide first where we want to go. Looking at what they're doing, but we're going to go south to take the lead on where we think we should go.
We go around the southern tip of Portugal, and we split a little bit with the fleet. We think they take a risk. We take a more direct route to Morocco.
How fast south do you want to go? Say between 1 and 2 hours. It's not 5 or 6 hours.
During the night, we end up having a huge pipe wrapped around our keel, which slows us down the whole night. And we think we got it out during the night, but we're not sure. The sun starts coming up, and I put the endoscope underneath the hull. It's still there. Wake up everyone on deck and start backing the boat once, twice, to try and get whatever is stuck in the keel away from it.
Keep doing this.
And so it takes us about 2 tries, which, to be fair, worked out really well, because it could take you hours.
So we just had another go at backing down and managed to clear it. The biggest thing I've ever seen wrapped around a keel. But it's off now and we can get racing again, which is good.
So we've lost about, 7 or 8 miles on the others.
The big moment was going to be this huge race down south, but it was the Strait of Gibraltar. And in the middle of the Strait of Gibraltar, which is already incredibly narrow, you've got this traffic separation scheme.
We started going up Gibraltar, head to wind in like 35 knots, so it's blowing quite strongly.
This time they're going through it upwind through the Strait of Gibraltar, and relentlessly tacking backwards and forwards because the runway is so narrow between the coast and the TSS. And I know there were some boats where the tacticians would come up and say, we need to tack again. And the crew would say, no, we're not doing it. We're too tired.
Yeah, the tacking was very exhausting. We put a lot of tacks, maybe even too many. We wanted to be aggressive, to get back, obviously into the lead. Where the physical side and the nutrition that we had, the way we could eat stuff really fast because we didn't have time. And that's where the whole preparation starts to pay off, because I do think we're less tired than the others.
Since we started eating dry mango, we are a little bit faster though. Keep beating it.
So windy night, windy morning, and then a tack off basically. I'm not sure how many we did, but it was a lot. Basically up the Moroccan coast. So it was really nice scenery, but a bit of a workout. And we're basically third place, tied second, I guess, with Axenoba. We're in the match. The Poland's, I don't know, half a mile or a mile ahead. So that's sort of the big breeze for the leg now, and now it's basically tricky Mediterranean light wind conditions all the way to the finish. So it's sort of now to focus and get into it.
And then we got into this very slack area. The transition is always hard, you know, you go from 35 knots to 5 knots in about 10 minutes.
They look, they have deployed Poland, they have deployed the Masthead Zero as well.
The wind also.
They look very high.
And actually sailing the same angle.
Yes, 90.
Outboard now.
When the breeze came back again, Mirpuri did a really nice job, along with Axenoba leading the fleet.
At that time, we're starting to discover who our most serious opponents are going to be in the Med, and it's, you know, Axenoba and Sailing Poland. And they've got some really good skippers and team, so we know it's going to be a challenge, and we know the Med is very tricky, and it could, you know, you could get stuck in the wind hole and have the others sail by maybe 100 meters from you, and there's nothing you can do. So it's one hell of a place to sail.
Late yesterday when we caught up with Sailing Poland and Axo, and now we've been fighting with Axo all night. Managed to catch up with them slowly, little by little, and around midday today managed to pass them, and now we're leading by about 2.5 miles.
I'm not sure, but I think Axo is like 4 miles, and the others, I don't know. We just need to be focused on our boat and our speed and keep going. The Alicat is just there, so we need to keep pushing to have some speed to get there.
This is awkward because now I've just got to keep looking at the sail.
It's very tight, very light wind in the finish, very tricky during the night, so we cannot see very well with the pressure. We are about 2 miles to the finish, and they are roughly 1 mile behind. Should be okay, but we never know what's going to happen. We're fighting till the end.
They're really close, about 1 mile behind, which is closer than I'd like them to be. A lot closer.
Yes, we are approaching the line. Could you confirm us that there is a flashlight on the mast, please?
It's not a flashlight, but it is a light on the mark. We see you approaching. I'll let you know when you cross.
Stand by.
Nice job, huh?
A very intense leg. It was a very long, very big effort on the team to make it happen. And yeah, first leg win. Feels so good, and yeah, very happy.
Everything needs to be extra perfect. So yeah, just the final checks. Everything is pretty good, in a good shape, but we are just confirming and making sure we have that extra edge on the others. You must remember we are still tight on points, so we cannot afford any mistakes. So that's why we need to double check everything again.
Everything needs to run smoothly. Bring a good shore crew. So then you can rest a little bit after the leg, and when you're a bit rested, then you come back and help the guys finish a few jobs and keep them out and make sure the boat's ready for the next leg.
We have been well, looking after the boat mostly. That's the job of the shore team. For us sailors, getting some rest and getting fit again and in shape for the next leg. So everybody is a bit busy, plus some, of course, media interviews and stuff like that. Final leg of this Ocean Race Europe, so it will count for a lot as we're tied on points with Axel Nobel. So yeah, we're double checking everything, making sure that nothing goes wrong in the next leg, because this will matter a lot.
But yeah, it's all into the final prep now. A couple of days until Sunday, and last checks and get all the inventory on board and off we go.
Going into leg 3, we've now got the point situation where Mirpuri, Team Axel Nobel tied on points, but Sailing Poland only 1 point behind. And there's a lot of points left to be awarded.
So we've got one more offshore and one more coastal to race, and now we're tied into the lead.
I mean, for us watching the race, we're thinking, well, this is brilliant. I mean, for the fans, this is going to be a really good showdown for that final leg 3 and then that last import race. The other thing that was really interesting was it was close racing. Leg 1 looked set to be Mirpuri over the horizon. They were going to be miles out. It didn't turn out that way. But leg 2 wasn't like that. Whatever speed deficit existed in the fleet of the VO65s, leg 2, it felt like Sailing Poland, it felt like Team Axel Nobel really found their gear. So while now the points are close and the confidence high with the team on Mirpuri, also their competitors have found a strong gear. So you're in the fight, but the fight is very real.
One design racing is very exhausting because you have the same kit as the others. The only difference is the people, is you. And you cannot let go of the performance for 1 second because every little meter that is lost is so hard to gain back. So we're always watching at what the others are doing and trying to be better than them. So the last leg is from Alicante in Spain to Genoa in Italy. Hugely important and very, very tricky.
The plan is just to have a good start, and it's going to be a tricky leg with very light winds, some transitions, but we are confident in our boat speed and our crew and our navigator.
Because of the way the first leg played out, there's a lot of teams left in this that have definitely got a shot at the top spot, and I think this leg basically has no waypoint, so it's you just have to believe in your strategy and execute that to the best of your ability, and that's all you can do.
Still many options are open, so we just have to get our ideas clear on how we want to handle it out of that first mark. If we want to cover a little bit and go with all the fleet, we might make some losses doing that. You know? But as everyone will get into the light wind, you know, the first boats will get into the light wind first, it might restart at some point again. So, to me, nice clean start is the same as the other. No contact, no...
Take it easy on the start.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Welcome to Alicante, Spain for the start of leg 3 of the Ocean Race Europe. We'll be beginning the final offshore leg, and even after already racing over 2,300 nautical miles, there is no clear leader.
5 minutes to warning.
Almost racing here, guys.
110.
I want to be full speed. Hold main. If we're in somebody's shit, we don't mind tacking, right? We position ourselves 200 meters up or something, and then we live our life. Yeah. Wait up! Wait up!
You can see now, just on the left-hand side, Axel Nobel Ocean Racing. So this is the main rival for Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team. Obviously, if they just focus on Axel Nobel Ocean Racing, they can allow the others to get through. That is going to bring our coverage here of the start of leg 3 to a close. We hope you enjoyed it. And these teams and the challenges ahead have only just begun.
Second place. Axel was in front of us, but we just managed to get our speed and and we just passed them. So it's good. Let's
We're
go.
coming back. A bit as we were leading at that mark, we just wanted to wait a bit to see what the other boats were doing, and now we are on starboard just to play a bit along the coast to get the sea breeze this afternoon, and then we'll see tonight what's going to happen.
Routings we look at, so the calculations of where to go, the fastest route to Genoa, they take us everywhere into the Mediterranean.
A bit of a split on the fleet, early stage of these legs, just to leeward of Axo here. Polish and the Austrians are very far to leeward. They didn't come the same way as we did, and then Childhood tried something close to the shore.
It's quite stressful because we know somebody could, take a good option by themselves and sail just away from the entire fleet, and we would not see them again.
Can you open the hatch up front? Rob would like some ventilation.
Situation is there's no wind. Situation is we're trying to get away from Mallorca, and the wind is very, very light. No wind?
No wind. Not for a very long way. It's going to be like this for a little while.
Tough day on board the boat today, yeah. We managed to get away from Mallorca and Minorca with the Polish, although they were leading by 10 miles, and managed to pull away from the rest of the fleet by almost another 20 miles. So that's good, and we came to this transition zone here in the middle of the Mediterranean, and the Polish did 3 tacks and came out of it and sailed 10 knots away from us. And we stayed stuck in there for probably 4 hours while the rest of the fleet was coming back up to us.
At that point, we don't know who's going to win it, but the separation is huge, and they might be like 100 miles away from us. So we're not managing the situation anymore. We're trying to catch them up, and we're thinking, wow, this is not looking good, This is a bad situation. We've got 2 boats quite far in front of us, and we may not be able to catch them.
You can see them with the binocular.
So we're at the end of France. We've gone past Monaco. We're about 30 miles from the finish. We know the night is going to be no wind. And so we're 30 miles from the finish, but sailing Poland is 20 miles from the finish.
Lay on the right here, please.
That last little push, that last little guesswork as to where the breeze was going to be would decide absolutely everything. But this time, it's not going to be Mirpuri that has to make the big decision. Sailing Poland are the one that are going to have to make the big call. They're out in the lead.
And all our instincts, routing, everything that we've studied tells us to go 90 degrees to the track, away from where we are into the middle of that gulf, and then pick up some new wind to go to Genoa.
Now we've got about 40 miles to the finish. The whole fleet is basically compressed. The weather routing is quite extreme. It basically says go 30 miles east, which is nearly as much as we have to go to the finish, to then get wind from the east, which seems a bit extreme maybe. You know this thing where you flip a coin and you pick heads or tails in the air? It's a bit like that. Let's see what hits the gun first.
Now, you've got a moment where I'm sure Yoann Richomme is thinking, well, last time I broke out, I went north on leg 1. I made a big bold call. I did something different. Do I have the strength of my convictions to make it again? Because at the moment, no one's doing it. Everyone's going north along the coast. Am I going to be the person that thinks, you're wrong, I'm right, and heading east is going to be the winning move?
I think that could be them.
eyes on.
We go through the decision for hours and hours and hours with Nico, and then the moment comes and we've got a little plan and we've got childhood in front of us and we see them park into a hole and bam, we tack and go out. And we know that's it, decision is made. It was tough having that decision of the first leg not going right and taking such a big gamble. I can tell you the crew on board were looking at us going, you guys better be sure about what you're doing.
But Genova is that way and we're heading that way, so it looks like it's much more pressure offshore. So I think we just need to cover a bit the fleet and try to take the most breeze out of the options available. We'll see.
Somebody had to do something, or otherwise that was going to be set. That was going to be those positions. And it would have been, I think, quite easy for Mirpuri to decide, do you know what? We're going to finish in second. We're going to play conservatively. And it means that it's going to be all on for that inshore race. But hey, do you know what? Second in the Ocean Race Europe, we'll be happy with that. Or do you decide we win or we lose? Those are our two options.
And so we're sailing away. Axo comes with us. That's a little good sign for us because we love being followed by others. But we're not getting any closer to Genoa. On the tracker, we can see that Baubecking is stuck and is not moving very fast. And then suddenly we get some wind and we start sailing really fast.
The thing that we are supposed to have no wind. Now we are supposed to have 3 knots. So the routing wants to continue 2 or 3 hours on port to try to get some wind and then to tack. But we have already 7 knots.
Can't complain right now. Progress.
And then we start cutting down. And every 10 minutes, Nico comes up 12 miles behind, 10 miles behind, 8 miles behind, bam, into the lead. Now that decision took some balls. But this one required a all-in attitude.
12.5 miles to the finish. We still have some good breeze, about 8 knots of wind. And we're leading by almost 10 miles.
Getting Italy, probably first place. We decided to risk a bit, and yeah, it paid off.
100 crew. It would be.
The committee is in the shroud. Huh?
Yeah. So the line's actually very square to the land.
Yes,
if you get
it's
me.
parallel to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's flash
you got
again.
it there? Yeah.
So now the mark flash again.
We're almost dead downwind of it.
But out there, they were proved right. That's where the breeze was, and it was enough to slip past Sailing Poland. It was enough to hold on, get those maximum points, and then suddenly, any doubt about whether we could do this, we could win this, that was it. Once again, the race was yours to lose.
We are in Genoa on the eve of the last race of the Ocean Race Europe. So we're about to do the coastal race here in Genoa tomorrow. The leaderboard is extremely tight. We are leading by 1 point on Axel Nobel and by another 2 points on Sailing Poland. So it comes down to the result of the last coastal race here in Genoa. Whoever wins it between Axel Nobel and us basically wins the event.
Hey Benny, final day.
Final day, final race. It's all or nothing. Let's go.
We've got this all or nothing moment. We've got a last chance for some points. And an interesting situation where Mirpuri are sitting on top of the scoreboard with this race scheduled to happen. But the wind, the forecast, is dire. But if this race is cancelled due to no wind, Mirpuri already take the trophy.
And we know there is no wind. There might be a chance of some wind in the afternoon, but it's slim. If we don't race, we've won the race because we're in the lead by 1 point. But I don't want anyone in the team to have in their head that we are not going to race that day.
In our head, we're racing. There's none of that. No racing bullshit or anything. Even, we know Nico has told us today that the conditions are looking a lot better than they were supposed to be. So my guess is that we are going to race. Obviously, we know the state of the ranking and the points and how it works and stuff like that. Let's not get that into our head too much. Let's just race it like we have always done, like really giving it everything. It could be down to tiny details. So, we've all worked very hard for this for a few months now. And this is the final day. There's no tomorrow, so...
One thing, last import race in Cascais, we made some mistakes, which is okay. But when we make mistakes, if we make them, there's no point stressing. There was some times in the last import where we should have taken down the pace a little bit. And I think we should do the same if something goes wrong.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the final day of racing for the Ocean Race Europe in Italy, Genoa. And if you've been following all the drama today, you will know that, well, we've been in a bit of a long postponement. A postponement for very good reasons, and for a lot of people probably thinking that that was it. But here we are with a bit of wind.
We start to see some wind, and as soon as we see the numbers go up on the screen, 2 knots, 3 knots, 4 knots, you look around, boats are sailing over there. Go, guys, we're going racing.
65, your warning signal is at 13:35. I repeat, 65, your warning signal.
But as those minutes tick down to the start gun, you're starting to realise that this is going to happen. This is going to be a good race, and this is going to decide who is going to win the Ocean Race Europe.
I've got Bernardo counting down the seconds and the length to the start.
Sailing Poland trying to get over the top.
And he's going, slow down, slow down.
Bear away, please.
For Bauer Becking, the veteran of the Ocean Race, now having to lap up. They are going to have to go round.
And I can see the numbers as well, and I feel it, and I go for it. And what I feel is that the others are ahead.
It might be childhood ones going back. AkzoNobel Ocean Racing, this has 2 possibilities. Either it's a general recall, and I think it is a general recall, looking at Amber Sail 2 coming round.
And we're starting to see more and more boats furling head sails, turning around and going back to the start. They were over the line early. When the gun fires, you have to be back from the line. You cannot be on course side, and they all were. But Mirpuri isn't coming back. They're still going, they're still going, they're still going.
Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team still going, and at this point I would be fairly confident it's a general recall. The Amber Sail 2 aren't going back yet, they've just stopped. So
Next pressure is Was everyone else over?
And then they get recalled, so their name goes out, Akzo, Poland, and they all start going backward, and then suddenly we're in the lead.
Oh, it's quite a high intensity start.
The beginning of the coastal race, and everybody was over apart from Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team. You could not wish for a better start.
Just to the left of it.
Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team are now off, and they have 7, 8, 9 boat lengths clear of their nearest VO65.
So we come around the upwind mark, so the last mark before the finish line.
And the finish line is downwind. So that means deploying a downwind sail. And about halfway through the hoist, something goes wrong.
This sail design.
Problems on board here. This is what we were talking about. So right now, the sail is flapping out the back of the boat.
I think Yoann at this point is thinking, not another one. Not another moment. After so much good work, after so much great sailing, not another one tiny slip up, which is going to take the whole thing out of my hands.
We've got a bit of a margin on the others, but that's a 400 square meter kite. We have to get back down, repack, plug in again, and rehoist.
So now this sail, which is meant to act like a parachute, is pulling you downwind, is now acting like a flag out the back of the boat, and it's just killing your speed. And all the while, behind, the competitors are getting closer and closer.
I mean, we saw this with Childhood 1 coming into the finish, but we have not seen a mistake like that from an experienced team.
They will know that seconds will count. And right now, they have to get that sail down. They have to get their speed back, and they've got to keep sailing Poland behind them.
If you are sailing Poland, you're thinking, come on, it's not, you know, we might have a chance.
Sailing Poland is in, obviously. They're gaining distance to leeward. Oh, and you see the A4 back on Mopuri.
Just like we've seen on the previous legs, it becomes who's found the breeze, who's sailed into that waiting bit of extra wind.
Back down to sailing team Poland, gain a little positioning, but if it's getting longer the other way, we say the sooner you have to go. So the longer it is going on starboard, basically to the finish line, the more effective sailing team Poland can have on the Mopuri Foundation. And there goes the jibe from Mopuri up.
Here's the jibe, here is the moment. This is the test to see whether Sailing Poland have been able to get themselves in that position.
Coming down to the finish line, and we talk about the races being close, but this was boat length. I mean, it was nothing. One puff of wind, it could have unraveled the whole thing.
Bauerbeking is going to need to get some more. He's coming in with power. Mopuri Foundation Racing Team look to be sailing perhaps a little bit lower, but there we can see the finish line coming into view. That looks to be the finish yacht with the flags flying.
Well done.
Stay!
Job done, mission accomplished. Oh, that was incredible. I think we love to make things hard for ourselves, quite tense, but it was amazing and beautiful project. Absolutely loved it, loved the crew. Very proud of everything they did, everything we did, and yeah, happy for the Mopuri Foundation.
Mopuri just picking that perfect ley line into the finish. And for all of their highs and all of their lows coming through, and yet again, it was the courage to make the right decision at the right time, which found them the breeze and take the win.
More than 20 people in the team, and you could feel the relief of everyone. First of all, the tension was there from Qashqai, basically, maybe a bit before, but from Qashqai, we had lost the event in Qashqai. It was done. It was too many points to get back. It was going to be a tough one. And then, you know, we kind of rebuilt everything from there. So it was a 1 month of stress and intense racing, and then it all, you know, worked its way to that one little day of racing in Genoa, which made us win the event.